Blog Talk Radio.
There is more to me, Queen Eliara of Elfgard, than my elven magic. Just as there's more to Geico than saving you money, Geico also gives you 24/7 access to licensed agents online, on the phone, or on the Geico app. And while I am a mighty elf queen, I am also a mighty big fan of barbecue potato chips. Minions! More smoky mesquite.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Blog Talk Radio.
Franchise interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia. You're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews. Welcome to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 10 years, we've been asking the Franchpreneurs to own one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Devan Kline, the co-founder and CEO for the Burn Boot Camp franchise opportunity. And their expert trainers are not only well-equipped with creative workouts, but ready to coach you through all the ups and downs that come with life. And we're going to talk to Devan about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we have a great show.
The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity. Are you looking for a unique and lucrative franchise opportunity? If so, take a look at Stone Coat. With a patented process which creates a true stone finish on almost any wall or ceiling, Stone Coat is a true game-changing product in the multi-billion-dollar construction industry. Stone Coat is applied faster, cleaner, and cheaper than conventional quarried stone, which saves both time and money. With advantages in remodel and new construction of both residential and commercial projects, Stone Coat is a true crossover product. The Stone Coat franchise opportunity provides a low startup cost, low operating expenses, comprehensive training, ongoing support, and no royalty payments. For more information on the Stone Coat franchise opportunity, go to www.stonecoatfranchise.com. That's www.stonecoatfranchise.com, or call us at 972-380-2700. That's 972-380-2700. Are you looking for a franchise that delivers? Businesses will always need shipping, and for more than 25 years, loyal customers have depended on Unishippers for reliable savings and exceptional customer service. Unishippers is focused on just one thing: helping small and medium-sized businesses save time and money on all their shipping needs. And as the largest reseller of complete shipping services in the country, we have the buying power to ensure that we succeed. The Unishippers franchise offers low startup costs, no equipment or real estate required because they're not retail, residual income, and a quality of life and work-life balance. For more information on becoming a Unishippers franchisee, go to www.unishippers.com and click Franchise Opportunities, or call Franchise Development at 801-708-5822. That's 801-708-5822.
Hi, this is Connie McDermott, Administrative Assistant for Franchise Interviews, LLC, and you are listening to Franchise Interviews.
Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 10 years now, we've been asking the Franchpreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Devan Kline, the co-founder and CEO for the Burn Boot Camp franchise opportunity. And their expert trainers are not only well-equipped with creative workouts, but ready to coach you through all the ups and downs that come with life. Hi, Devan. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Marty. Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, I appreciate it. How's everything?
It's going well, Devan. A little bit cold here in Pennsylvania. Where are you calling from today, Devan?
We are actually here in North Charlotte area in Huntersville, North Carolina. It's a sunny day here. Actually, we got snow last week. We got hit with that southeast storm that came through. But everything is about 60 degrees and sunshine right now, so no complaints here.
That's fantastic. I was reading about your story, Devan. We started the show over a decade ago. We found that, every franchise like yours, has a story. And, when I was researching Burn Boot Camp, for your story, we almost have to go back to when you were a kid, don't we?
Yeah, no, it's an incredible story. It's, it's one of those things that as you're growing up, you don't really realize that you're going through until you look back on your life and you can see how, different circumstances have shaped you. And, I grew up in a town called Battle Creek, Michigan, home of Kellogg cereal. And my wife and I actually have known each other since a very, very young age. She went through her own troubles growing up, but myself, I had a family life that wasn't ideal, I guess, to be politically correct, and a lot of abuse, both physically and with different substances, and it wasn't the greatest environment growing up, and those types of circumstances can really shape somebody. You can really go one way or the other. You can either conform to the environment that you're placed in, or you can say this isn't what life should be like, and make that conscious decision to move forward. So fortunately for myself, at a very young age, I found sports. I found athletics. Ended up, being a college athlete, played baseball at Central Michigan University, and I ended up going to play with the San Francisco Giants in their minor league organization for 3 years. So, that being an athlete kept me really motivated. It taught me a lot about life. It really did. It taught me a lot about leadership and a lot about teamwork, but more so an escape from, the experiences, that I had growing up. And, as I went through those experiences and, moved on into college and excelled in sports and moved on into the professional ranks, it was really neat. I got a chance to, let me rewind real quick. My wife, Morgan, she is the co-founder of Burn with me, and she was there from, when I was 12 years old, and I started to realize kind of what was going on in my personal life. She was my rock, and she was there, and we've been together ever since. So since we were 12 years old, little kids.
It's a great story. My wife loved this story when she read it, Devan. She was moved by it, and we're really excited to have you on the show. And, I can see, how, your experience has really helped you. From so many different perspectives. Even, I had a chance to watch some of the videos with you doing the interviewing, by the way. And by the way, you're a fantastic interviewer. You do a great job with that. You do a great job, and you have, you could see that you have this real, empathy, for, your clients, and it is very moving in some of those interviews that I had a chance to watch. How do you describe, Burn Boot Camp? Like if you were at a franchise show, Devan, and someone came up to your booth and they said, "Oh, what are you guys, one of those fitness franchises?" How do you typically respond from there?
Well, you know what, I think it goes back, stemming into, kind of back into the background a little bit, into my college and professional days. I would travel the country playing baseball, and I would actually be put up with host families. And if you're not familiar with what a host family, or our viewers aren't, or our listeners aren't, we essentially would stay with a family for a period of time during the summer and get a chance to experience their home. And, what I found is that my problems that I had growing up weren't everyday regular problems, and that the everyday regular problems that people do experience is more so along the lines of lack of energy, frustration, lack of health. And, so I saw that. And when I finally got released from the Giants, I knew that was my passion. That was my second calling. And, so when I fast forward and I started this business in a parking lot here in Huntersville, North Carolina, only, just under 5 years ago, and I've now grown into 26 states and almost 250 locations awarded. It's an incredible thing, and it all stems from that experience of seeing somebody in need and being able to assist those people while I was living with them and get a chance to experience that true satisfaction that you get when you get to help somebody. So if I was to explain now at a trade show or just every day, I mean, I talk about my business and it's really more so my mission or my passion rather than business. But I meet somebody, I basically tell them that, we're a living and breathing brand. We're a living and breathing thing. It's not just a business. It's something that has such an impact and such a positive, powerful influence over people's lives that they're so touched by it. And it moves them to action so quickly, and it's so lasting with them that it just catches fire. And, it turns one woman and changing one woman's life into a community of people and a community of women changing their lives. And that's really what we do. We're community transformation experts. We go into the communities who need us the most, and we're all women's focused brand. It's a 45-minute concept where they come in. It's the workouts are always different, never the same. And we have free childcare that's offered along with our brand. We have a whole nutritional line, a whole focus meeting system, which consists of mindset, orientation, and also nutrition. And all of those things is what makes it a real living and breathing lifestyle brand that people it just becomes a part of them. And it just becomes something that we have this hashtag called Bleed Blue that a lot of our clients use, and they use it and they made it up themselves because they just can feel the empowerment running through their veins.
It's a philosophy too, isn't it, Devan? You're really playing the role of like a life coach too. I was watching one of the video clips with, I think the woman's name was Diane, and she had, 5 children. She gained a lot of weight. I think she's over 300 pounds. And it was amazing to see, her transformation, and all the benefits to, using Burn Boot Camp, where she was at today. And she was you could see her attitudes change. I mean, there's just so many benefits to losing weight, but it's hard too. I mean, you could see how someone can also get, I guess, caught into that trap as well, right? When, having children and things like that, and you kind of fall off track, don't you?
Yeah, no, and we call that the law of familiarity, and if you're familiar with hearing, you need to lose weight, in business, it's often I need to set goals. With weight loss, it's often I need to lose weight or I need to eat better. We really take that, real strategic mindset approach. I am an absolute huge raving Tony Robbins fan, and I'm actually going to his business mastery seminar here in West Palm in the next week.
Wow.
And he's touched my life so much. He was one of the people who helped mentor me through books and through video programs and audio programs as I was growing up when I had no mentors. And so I like to take a lot of that philosophy that Tony and Jim Rohn and all these personal development old school guys speak, and take that and interject that not only into my clients, because I am a personal trainer. I'm not only the CEO and founder of Burn Boot Camp, but we have 13 camp times every single day at my headquarter location. I run the first 3 every single morning, and I have 200 clients who I get to impact in those 3 sessions. And all of our conversations are surrounding the mind. If you can take control of your psychology, you can take control of your body, because the mind truly does lead the body, and that's the philosophy that we have, and that's largely why we have blown up so fast, is because we're so much different in our approach. It's not just fitness. It's not just nutrition. It's a well-rounded philosophy of mindset, fitness, what we call hypertrophy strength training, what we call metabolic burst training, and then the community that you place yourself in is kind of the glue that holds everything together.
At what point, Devan, did you know, it was time to, start franchising? I mean, it's such an amazing story of entrepreneurship for one, but, at what point did you realize, that you could start franchising the concept?
Yeah, it's actually funny. So, like I said, my background, I didn't have a lot of money growing up, so it's not like I got handed $1 million.
Right.
Here, go run a business. And so what I did is, when my wife is a genius. She's very, very smart, much smarter than I am, and she got a promotion very early on. She was actually working for the Kellogg Corporation we talked about that was in Battle Creek, Michigan, and got promoted here to Huntersville, North Carolina, very quickly at a young age. We were 22 years old when we moved here, and I started this concept out of a parking lot. I was part-time renting a gymnastics studio, part-time renting a parking lot, and I got one little article in the paper, and I hang it on my wall to this day because it says ex-pro baseball player trains local moms, which is it's pretty cool. And so from there, that garnered a lot of interest in the community for the program. And within 8 months, I had 200 or so clients, paying me on a 12-month commitment, to my gym and to come train with me. And I was like, wow, I saw like $15,000 go in my bank account in 1 month, and I was blown away by it. And so what I did is open, I was like, this is pretty cool. So I opened 3 around the same community here in Huntersville. I opened 3 more sublease spots. So I never even signed a lease for the first 8 months. And then long story short, we got too big for that place that we were at. And so I got my own facility, a 5,000 square foot gym just around the corner, which is now our 10,000 square foot headquarter building that we own. But I saw something transform in the community that was very, very powerful that I wasn't aware was going to happen. And when I saw those 4 sublease locations open and run, and the amount of influence that we were having over people, and the amount of results that were being achieved by our clients, and the amount of community and culture that was being, just advocated and adhered to by everybody collectively, myself, other trainers, the clients, I knew it was something different. It became something that started to be just bigger than a guy in a parking lot training moms. It became something that was living and breathing. And so I actually reached out to a local franchisor. His name is Jeff Duden, and he was just actually featured on Undercover Boss on CBS the other night. And he's here in Huntersville with me, and he said, dude, we're good buddies. He said, dude, you need to franchise. Have you thought about the franchise thing? And I was like, Jeff, I haven't. And so he took me to the IFA with him under his team, and from there I was sitting in like the intermediate sessions, and I was like, gosh, we're already here. Like, what can I do with this? Yeah. So from there, I made the decision. 6 months later, we were a franchise. We had our first 4 franchises sold within the first 3 days, and so fast forward into only we're now 23 months into franchise offering, and we've sold or awarded rather about 238 total.
I love this story, Devan. I mean, I've done, 500 of these interviews, and I have to say that this is probably one of my favorite stories, just following your background, it's such an amazing story, of entrepreneurship, and I get it. I think it's really fantastic. What was it like, I guess, when you sold that first franchise? I mean, that had to be an amazing feeling for you.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. It really was. I was like, it was almost surreal. I relate it back to I'm like I mentioned, I'm a personal trainer as well by nature and by heart. That's really where my passion lies, and a successful business owner by passion as well. But that's how it started, and I relate it back to when I got my first TV segment. I've been on over 350 different TV segments, all over big magazines like Facebook pages and Facebook Lives, and I relate it back to that first time when I garnered that first TV segment. When I was trying so hard for 8 months to get on locally here, and I did it, and I was just so pumped and so excited. It was almost that times 10, when Morgan and I awarded that first franchise, we were, absolutely off the walls. We have 2 German Shepherds, Zoe and Coda, and whenever we get excited, they feed off our excitement, and the house is pretty crazy. And, it was just a really cool opportunity for us to say, we did it. Our franchise consultant gave us the goal of doing 3 in the first year. We did 3 in the first 3 days.
It's incredible. It's an amazing story. How does technology play a role in your business today, Devan? I guess, from the parking lot, it's a lot different, right? To, maybe where you are today. Does technology play a role in the business?
Yeah, no, I think definitely as you scale, and in order to be a scalable franchise, in order to grow quickly, you need to, and not lose validity. You have to be ahead of the game. You have to, be able to forecast what's going to happen. And anticipate is one of my favorite words. Being a good anticipator is being a good, successful business owner. And, so from a system side of things, all of our operations are systemized. We now have 18 people at our headquarters. We built out our own infrastructure. We don't use any brokers. I have a VP of brand development who has a commissioned sales team who she works with to award our franchises and to grow our brand. We've never used a broker. As far as like social media goes and marketing and, leveraging that sort of technology. That's really what my expertise is leadership for the brand and understanding digital marketing, understanding marketing funnels, how to capture leads, how to write sales copy, how to move people to action through persuasive metaphors on the internet, and just really get people to take action and tell our story, and be able to portray that brand in a way where people are going to find it, and when they do find it, they're going to be moved by it and take action on it. So, if you have a great story and nobody knows about it, is it really a great story? You have to be able to go out and leverage it. You have to be able to utilize your technology, to be able to do those things. And from a system side, it's franchising industry in general. There's so many great vendors and so many great systems that you can utilize. And the fear that most franchisors have is that it's so expensive. Well, it's very expensive, but they've also thought of everything. You're also not going to go with a cheaper version of what they offer that has to grow in with you, and then you stumble over yourself because, the franchisees get mad because this and that happens. It's very tough to have people grow with you when you're trying to develop a business quickly as we have. And so what we decided to do early was we have our company-owned locations who do very, very well. My wife and I, Morgan, we own 5 company-owned locations, and we've never had to take a loan or never had to give equity percentage out because of the company-owned locations and how profitable they are. So that has fueled the franchise. So at the end of the day, when you look and, you say, how do I plug into those big boy systems before while I'm a baby franchise? Well, our strategy has been get a few company-owned locations that are rocking and rolling, dial in your systems, dial in your marketing. At the end of the day, those company-owned locations, as long as you can live off them, the rest of it needs to be invested into growing the brand.
That's fantastic. When you and Morgan are meeting with prospective franchisees, Devan, what do you look for in your franchisees? Do you look for specific types of characteristics or traits?
Yeah, no, I definitely look for drive and hustle. I know those aren't the typical traits that you look for in somebody, but my favorite trait about people is hustle, because this is in a business owner in general. This isn't something where you become a franchise owner and you're awarded this business to go, think that you have freedom because you have a business now that is supposed to be running, on a franchise system and be this turnkey solution. You have to go make it work. The passion, the excitement, the enthusiasm behind the hustle is what I like to tell my owners when they sit down. I'm like, okay, first of all, this is not easy. All right, let's just get that out of the way. It just works for you if you work for it, and if your passion, if your enthusiasm, if your hustle pushes that drive forward, then you're going to do some really good things here. And just understanding that, setting that expectation up front that, nobody comes to signing day with us without having already proven themselves from a passion standpoint. We don't sell locations, we award locations, and 95% of our owners are actually clients who have experienced a transformation and who have then gone on to own. On the other 5% are friends of clients who have experienced a transformation in their lifestyle, who have gone on to own. And so that just explains to you the power behind our model, and we, in that same regard, have not had to use any outside capital to even market the business. Every single location has been word of mouth. Every single one of them. Not a dollar has been spent on franchise development.
That's amazing.
And I think that it goes back to that concept to award franchises and not sell them, because if you award them and you award them to people who you're looking for, who fit the mold of your brand, whatever that mold is, right? Whatever the mold is if they fit the mold, if they have that drive, in our brand, if they have that passion, if they have the enthusiasm, the excitement, they got to, if you can't tell, I have tons of energy. They got to be able to manage my energy, and they have to be able to, want to learn and be somebody who can be coachable as well.
And they have that, going back to Tony Robbins, they have to have that belief too, don't they, Devan? Which is why I guess it makes it easier for you to sell your franchises, because, they've been through it and they believe in the system, so I'm sure they're very, going back to that, we're passionate about the whole concept as well, which probably makes them very successful franchisees, doesn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. Your belief systems will shape your, it'll shape your focus, and your focus will shape your feeling, and whatever feeling, that's what you're going to focus on. And that's genuine Tony Robbins stuff right there. And I live by that because it is so important. And I'm big into listening to people who have done it before and emulating them, because I don't have decades to try to figure it out. I try to compress decades into days by by figuring out what other people have done. So yeah, definitely you hit it on the head, Marty, that, your belief system and what you believe that you can achieve is, if you have a glass ceiling over your head, then you're going to hit it, and you're going to hit it hard, and it's not going to break.
That's fantastic. What's the training like, Devan? I mean, once you decide, that you do like them, they like you, and they want to become a franchisee, I mean, do they come to corporate headquarters? Is that where training typically takes place?
Yeah, training takes place right away. As soon as they sign, we leverage technology in that regard too, mostly social media. We have a closed group on Facebook that all of our owners tap into, and every Tuesday and every Thursday I go live, or one of our team members goes live on Facebook, and we do a live training right there. Now, sometimes when new owners sign on, they're a little bit lost at first, but we have four franchise operations coaches and one senior franchise operations coach that they get tapped into right away. They walk them through the business model. They walk them through everything that they need to know to get started, leasing, acquiring staff, the normal operational procedures of starting a franchise. And then, as that's going, we have we schedule about every 2 months. We schedule what we call Burn University, and so people, owners and their head trainers and their operations managers will all come into Charlotte, they'll fly into Charlotte. They'll drive about 10 miles north up to Huntersville, and they'll come to our. We now have a 10,000 square foot building, and actually, as we speak right now, we're expanding into another 5,000 square foot building that we just bought next door to expand operations. And so they come up here, and we've had at this point 8 groups now of anywhere from 20 to 40 owners come through at a time, and owners and trainers, and they come here for 7 days, and they just get that immersion style into the brand. They get everything that you could possibly need as far as top level stuff from the brand, and they get their pathways on how to go deeper into those things. We really plant a lot of seeds. Going back to belief systems, it's one of that first day. We call it orientation day. They come in Sunday night, and I'll tell you what, Marty, like I said, I'm a personal trainer, and I bring them into our sessions, one of the classic Burn sessions, and I take them through what they're going to be able to expect from their clients. And I get every single owner on the floor. It's mandatory, and trainer, and I go out there, I pretty much whip their butt, and I say,
that's great.
This is what clients want. They don't pay a premium price to an organization like ours to come in and get somebody who isn't not only positive, not only encouraging, but also has high expectations and sets high expectations for you. And then they go into marketing and sales and dive into operations, and we have child care. There's a child care segment, and so they wrap up, and we wrap it up with a nice send-off lunch and a graduation ceremony. Our trainers do this amazing hard test called the Strength and Conditioning Assessment. That's extremely difficult, and we put it in place as a filter because we have America's best trainers right now. I can confidently say that we do, and this is one of the filters that does that. So we do that on the last day, and then they pass it, and then they go to Burn. We go to a little send-off ceremony, and then our franchise operations coaches, about 2 weeks out, we'll have several calls with them, and then they will go to the facility. We'll fly them out to the facility for 2 days right before their opening to go through the operations hands-on.
That's fantastic. What do you look for in a location, Devan, and how much space is required to open up a Burn Boot Camp?
So we have, in our FDDs, we have 3,000 to about 7,000 square foot.
Okay.
An ideal space for us. Our average facility falls in right at about 5,000 square foot.
Okay.
That's about 4,500 square foot of workout space, about a couple hundred square foot of bathrooms, and a couple hundred square foot of childcare. And it's a very simple, open model. If you walk into a facility, we have this amazing thing that we call a floating floor, and the floating floor spans, pretty much about 3,000 of that standard 5,000 square foot, and it stems from the gymnastics studio concept, right? All my clients, then when I moved from the parking lot into my own building, they were like, the only thing we're going to miss about this place is the gymnastics mat that's on there, the springboard floor. So we incorporated those into our model. So we have those in there. We look for standalone spaces just because we bang a lot of loud music and have a lot of fun, and we're outside a lot. And then we also, we'll do A spaces, B spaces. C spaces, and we'll do some industrial zone stuff if it's within good reach of a client. But the inside is very important to us. The branding inside the doors of our facilities is extremely important. It's very pristine. It's state of the art. It's one of those things where we want our clients to go to work every day. We want them to go home every day, and we want them to come to Burn every day. And if we can achieve that, then it's became a lifestyle for them. So we got to keep their home looking nice and good, nice and clean.
That's fantastic. The majority of our listeners, Devan, we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. And, you were saying earlier, there's so much out there today. We find that a lot of our listeners, when they realize they want to buy a franchise, they're a little bit confused because there is so much out there. From everything because, you are certainly, you have all the traits of an entrepreneur. What advice would you give them in their quest to buy a franchise?
If you're specifically looking to buy a franchise, my number one piece of advice would be find somebody, a leader who you can watch from afar, who you can see lead. Take your time, watch what they do. Make sure that their philosophy, their character, their energy, their charisma, their enthusiasm flows with yours. And because the leader of the organization ultimately is a reflection of everybody in our organization. I'm a reflection of our childcare workers, down at the unit level. And I think that it's so important to be able to connect, with, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, and this may not be a popular one, but if a CEO or somebody who is, behind the scenes, isn't relatable or doesn't put themselves out there to be relatable or be a face, then that's a red flag, in my opinion, or somebody high up in the class or a president or somebody that can be the face of the brand. Our brand is so special because I'm not only in the business every single day, and it doesn't take time away from the CEO role that I have, but I'm also vulnerable and put myself out there and, and I'm excited to do so. So I would say that number one would be choose a good leader. Number two would definitely be, value or cost per franchise or cost per ownership isn't always, whether it's going to make you most successful or not. You really have to you have to really dive into the operations, do your homework on the FDD, dive into the FDD, see what it's about. If we don't know what that means out there, franchipreneurs, then the franchise disclosure documents, make sure you get your hands on some of those and do your due diligence. Don't jump into anything. Take it slow. It's a process where you're making a commitment to an organization, the organization's making a commitment to you, and it's much like a marriage, and so you have to be able to reflect and relate with the people who you're going to be working with for the next, however long, 5 to 15 years or so, however long most companies will sign those franchise agreements for. So, definitely a good leader. Do your homework and make sure that, you can feel really, really good in your heart about it. Don't let your brain get in the way of your goals, and your brain get in the way of the desires in your heart, because you'll feel it. When it's the right thing, you'll feel it.
Yeah, I think that's terrific advice. I could ask you the next question, because as the CEO of the company, Devan, is, where do you see Burn Boot Camp? Maybe, if you could look into a crystal ball 3 to 5 years down the road.
I'm always a leader who is going to base our success off of the clients that we serve. It's my job and my goal and my mission and my passion to create raving fans by getting them the results, not only that they deserve, but the ones that they didn't expect, under promising and over delivering. And, with that mindset and that mentality and not so bottom line conscious all the time, there's no limit to what we can do. There's really not. My belief system, like we talked about earlier, is that we're the world's, that we already are the world's biggest healthy lifestyle brand for women by, delivering to them what nobody else can. And that's really, if you boil it down, it's empowerment through fitness, through health, through lifestyle that breeds confidence. And that confidence will then trickle out, and word of mouth is the best way to grow any business. We already are developing all of these different branches and putting ourselves in place for that. So I know my outcome. I know where we want to go. I know who we are, what we're going to be, and what we are today. And, really with that being said, because I don't like to talk, monetary necessarily, but I would love to be able to, in 10, 15 years or so, look back and say, wow, we helped, tens of millions of people across, several different continents. And whether that's 5 or that's 26, I don't know. I just want to help, 26 million, 26 million people. I mean, just ridiculous amount of people get healthy. And if we can do that, then we're doing the good things.
That's fantastic. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information on Burn Boot Camp, as a service and of course, as the franchise, Devan? Any websites that they can go to?
Yeah, our website, burnbootcamp.com/franchise for franchise opportunities. And after you're done poking around on there, checking us out, then just, cruise our blog, burnbootcamp.com/blog. Big into content marketing. You'll find a lot of stuff there.
That's fantastic. I've really enjoyed talking to you, Devan. I do a lot of these interviews, and this was an amazing interview. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I'd really like to invite you back next year as you continue to grow. I think this is a great opportunity.
Yeah, Marty, I appreciate it. I'd love to have you back. Nice talking to you as well, and stay warm up there, all right?
Will do. It was great talking to you, Devan. We'll be right back with more franchise interviews. Coming up on segment 2, you're going to hear what every franchipreneur needs to know before buying a franchise. We're going to play a clip from our popular Great Quotes in Franchising podcast right here on Franchise Interviews.
Are you looking for a franchise that delivers? Businesses will always need shipping, and for more than 25 years, loyal customers have depended on Unishippers for reliable savings and exceptional customer service. Unishippers is focused on just one thing: helping small and medium-sized businesses save time and money on all their shipping needs. And as the largest reseller of complete shipping services in the country, we have the buying power to ensure that we succeed. The Unishippers franchise offers low startup costs, no equipment or real estate required because they're not retail, residual income, and a quality of life and work-life balance. For more information on becoming a Unishippers franchisee, go to www.unishippers.com and click Franchise Opportunities, or call Franchise Development at 801-708-5822. That's 801-708-5822. Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 8 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Hi, everyone. This is Marty McDermott, the president of Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. Well, one of the shows I strongly recommend listening to if you're an aspiring entrepreneur is Stop Riding the Pine. And the show is hosted by Jamie J. And Jamie is an amazing interviewer. He speaks with entrepreneurs on a variety of topics. And I had the pleasure of appearing on Stop Riding the Pine. And one of the topics that Jamie and I were focusing on were key elements to successful franchising. So this particular clip of Great Quote in Franchising, we're going to call this There's No Creativity in Franchising, and we're going to explain why. What do I want this franchise to do for me? Why are you considering getting into franchising? Because, a lot of times people that get into franchising, Jamie, I think probably should not get into franchising. They'll go into it for the wrong reasons. Well, they'll see the success of one franchise and they'll say, God, I wish I owned one of these. But that doesn't mean that they should necessarily buy into a Dunkin' Donuts franchise. And sometimes they go into the wrong franchise opportunity. So they might be suited for a franchise, but they're getting into the wrong franchise. I think you really have to be open, to all the different categories that are out there. Again, going deep within yourself and asking yourself, what do I want this franchise to do for me? If you don't want to work on weekends, then don't get into one of these like children franchises where they're real busy on Saturdays or Sundays. So you have to say, what do I want it to do for me? And you ask yourself those deep-rooted questions.
Perfect. I think that's huge. It's very important for people to not jump into something.
Absolutely, because it's expensive too, Jamie. I mean, a lot of times, you're signing a 10-year contract, which is 10 years of your life. It's a long time, isn't it? I mean, it's
oh my
almost
gosh.
like I won't compare it to the sanctity of marriage, but
right.
sometimes it goes further than that, I mean, having that 10-year commitment, so it is a very big commitment financially. It's a big commitment. I think you have to have the support from your family, whether it's your wife and your children, because the first year, typically from what I've learned in doing this show such a long time now, is it takes a long time to get it off the ground. Even if it is a Subway franchise or a very recognizable brand name, you're still going to be putting a lot of work into it. So
right.
you might be missing that time from your family. And sometimes people get into franchising for the wrong reasons as well. Maybe they'll have a bad day at work, and they say, "Oh, I hate my boss."
I'm out of here.
I want to be my own boss. And again, franchising may not be the best alternative for that type of person. There's so many different types of levels of entrepreneurship. Franchising is just one. I mean, you could just initially start your own business where you get to be the creator. There's no, I hate to say this, but there's no creativity in franchising sometimes. I mean, you have to follow somebody else's creation, and that's okay for some people. For me, it wouldn't be. And I assume in getting to know you over time, you might have trouble with that as well, because again, you like to create.
I couldn't get outside of the structure, but I understand why that would be a good thing, because
exactly,
okay, they've been there, they've done that. You won't make the same mistakes that the original franchisor made, because they found the solutions along the way, and that's part of the attraction for franchise.
Exactly. I published. It sounds like I'm bragging, Jamie, but I just got one of a paper published in.
You deserve it.
A journal. If you'd like to hear that whole interview with Jamie J of Stop Riding the Pine, all you have to do is go to stopridingthepine.com, and you can hear the whole podcast. And lastly, we just want to thank everyone for making this podcast such a big success. It's hard to imagine that we've been doing it now 10 years ago. It was one of the things I was talking about with Jamie on the show, is the longevity of the show. Is what started out to be a 1-month project turned out to be 10 years. So I just want to thank everyone for listening to the podcast and making it such a success. So thanks, everyone. We'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising from Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.
Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.